All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm super excited for today and to be here with you for another episode of the science of comping. So, what is comping? Comping is finding the value of a house or a property that you're looking at, right? So, what I'm going to do here is we're going to hang tight for just a minute as more people come on the stream, because today, guys, what I want to do is I want to provide you actionable tips that you can take and immediately go value properties yourself and make money today, right? Or get on the path to making money today. It's no secret that one of the hardest things that people have grasping when they first get started in virtual wholesaling is valuing houses, right? Sometimes people may even have limited thoughts or false limiting beliefs, like, I live in Florida, so I can't value houses in California. How would I do that? Or I live in California, I could never value houses in Florida. They look at other states as like alien territories where the houses are just so different. But I have a little secret for you, okay? And this secret that I'm going to share with you really helped blow my mind, right? And open my eyes to what was possible with virtual, because I'm sure a lot of you guys who are listening right now are feeling kind of stuck when it comes to virtual, right? You're thinking that it's just so different, and you have no idea how you'd even go about wholesaling in another state or a territory away from you are. Love it. I see people coming on. And so I'm going to share with you guys one of the biggest takeaways that I had. Okay, here it is. This is very simple. Okay, as most things are that really propel you to the level of success you want. You can't scale complicated. So I'm going to make it very, very simple today. Hope you guys are okay with that. Heck, it's in the company name, Virtual Wholesaling Made Simple. So one of the biggest takeaways that I had was that going virtual is as simple as pulling a list. I know, groundbreaking, right? So if you want to go to, like, if you're living in Florida and you want to wholesale houses in Georgia, guess what? You can pull a list of motivated property owners in Georgia the same way as you do it in Florida, right? So wholesaling, virtual wholesaling, I find is a mindset block for a lot of people. Okay. So today, like I said, what I want to do is I want to focus on valuing houses. So I have a unique method that I use to value houses just 15 minutes or less. And by the end of today's live, you are going to have access to the same method. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. And so that way, again, you can go ahead and not only watch as I value houses live here, but you can actually go out and value houses yourself too. So while we got people coming on here, I thrive off the interaction, guys. And how long I do this today, and if I ever do this again and post this to my public profile, is really going to depend on the engagement that I get here, okay? So one of the things that I want you guys to do is go ahead and comment with where you're watching from so I can see where you're watching from. I think it's fascinating that we can all get together here in a virtual environment and we can connect all over the country, but we're all in different places. And that's one of the best things about virtual is it can bring people together like that. So some people say, oh, virtual, you can't establish relationships with homeowners or buyers like you can if you're belly to belly, face to face, shaking hands. Totally disagree, right? Totally disagree on that. Okay, Wyanett, Illinois. I love that. Hey, and by the way, if you all could do me a favor, Dallas Fort Worth, I love it. If you could accept the StreamYard terms and conditions, there should have been a link somewhere above or below this video where you can click it, accept the terms from StreamYard. And then if you do that, I can see your first and last names. Otherwise, I can't see your names. Hi from Washington State. Boom. Danita Gibson Olds waiting. I love it. Love it. So we got Washington in the house. We got Dallas Fort Worth, Illinois. Danita, where are you watching from? I think you guys are in Texas. I'm not 100% sure. Could be wrong on that. But awesome. I love that, guys. I love it. Now, before I get started here, I'm going to share with you the tool that I use to value houses anywhere in the country. So there's a lot of tools out there that you can use, a lot of shiny objects. I like keeping it very, very simple. Okay. So the tool that I use is Propstream. And you can get a 7-day free trial by going to getpropstreamnow.com and claim your 7-day free trial so you can use it too, right? Cool thing about it, you can also download up to 10,000 records of motivated homeowners every single month if you want to. So you're literally getting records to call homeowners for pennies on the dollar, which is pretty awesome. So that's one of the reasons why I like it. So that's what we're going to be using today. So guys, what I'd like you to do is post any properties that you're working on right now. Okay, so if like you have a lead that you're working, I'd love for you to post that in the comments. And from there, I'll take that and I'll actually value it live here. So you can go ahead and make offers today. Danita is Max's wife, different office. We were both in Illinois. Awesome. I kind of figured. But both in Illinois. I love it. Love it. Okay, great. So yeah, so let's go ahead and dive in, guys. Max, do you have a property that you'd like me to value here live so I can show you the way we go about doing it? If so, go ahead and drop that. I'd love to see that. And by the way, guys, one thing that you want to keep in mind, okay, and just a little bit of my background, I've been doing this for a little over 10 years. I've done over 600 deals, and my wife and I have been virtual, wholesaling houses from home anywhere in the country over the last, 7+ years. And so we've done this for a long time. And can't remember if I mentioned, I'm also a licensed realtor too. I don't list properties. I just use it so I can get access to the things that realtors get access to. Gives me additional info. And on top of that, the training that to be able to value houses quickly, right? So I value houses very similar to what an appraiser does. Max says he's looking for a lead. And if he can't find one, not a big deal. I'll just pull random property off of Propstream. But in the meantime, what I'd like you guys to do is while I'm about to either run comps on a property that value house that Max has, if you like, maybe you could post a property in your area. Okay. I got 110 Merrill Drive, Longview, Washington. Boom. That is the one that we're going to be valuing here. But before I do, one of the things that I want to share with you, the properties are coming through. I love that. Love that. You guys are awesome. All right. So before I value this, I want to share with you guys the 4 things that I look for when I value a property. Okay. And most wholesalers get this wrong. Okay. So the first thing is you only want to value properties. You only want to pull sold properties. Okay. And for those brand new to real estate, you want to find what's called the after repaired value of the property you're working with. So say you're talking to a motivated homeowner, they tell you, hey, I have this property. It needs a lot of work. It's needs a new roof. I have water leaking through the back. I have, holes in the drywall all over the place. Like nothing's been updated. I had a tenant destroy the house recently. Can you help me? Right. And so the whole process of putting together an offer starts with valuing the house, saying, what is this house worth in its best possible condition? Okay. So the value of the house is found by finding 3 properties that are similar in size and style to your property that you're working with on that seller. Okay. 3 sold properties. But the difference is those 3 properties are going to be fully renovated. What does fully renovated look like? Don't overcomplicate it. If you look at a house and you're like, man, that looks brand new. There you go. The house is fully renovated more than likely. Okay. So you want to pull 3 houses that are like that. And then from there, you're going to use the process we're going to show you here in a second to actually find what your property could sell for in its best possible condition. Now, what I'm going to share with you here is a guide that you can use. Okay. There are ways you can dive deeper on this to get more exact amounts. But for now, this is a fantastic guide that you can use to get the value of any property. Okay, so the first thing, like I said, is you want to find 3 properties. Now, those 3 properties, the first thing we look for is properties have to have been sold within the last year. I see a lot of wholesalers, they pull, sold comparable sales of properties that sold like 2 years ago. That's a big, big no-no, okay? Because there's a lot that can change in a real estate market when you're going out further than a year, okay? The second thing that people typically get wrong is distance, okay? So you want to make sure that you're really not looking for properties that have sold outside of a half a mile from your property. The closer you can get to it, even the better. If you can go a quarter mile, same neighborhood or subdivision, even better, right? But you don't want to go greater than a half mile unless you're in kind of like a rural type of territory where people have like acre lots and things like that. At that point, you have to go out a mile so you can find enough sold properties to value your house. Okay, but the key is making sure in most areas you don't go out greater than a half mile. Okay, the next thing that I find people typically get wrong is square footage. So they're comparing properties that are significantly larger or smaller than their property. Okay, so a square footage you should shoot for is 20%. You don't want to compare properties greater than 20% or smaller than 20% in size of your property, because if you do, it's going to really skew the value. Okay, so you really don't want to do that. So I see a lot of people doing that. Big no-no. Okay, and the fourth thing, okay, I think we've gone through 3. Yeah, so the fourth thing that you want to look for is properties that sold within 10 years of the build date of your property. So if you have a property built in like 1950, then you only want to compare that property to properties that are 10 years older and 10 years greater. Okay, so you would compare properties between 1940 and 1960 for a property that was built in 1950. Okay, this is a big deal because a lot of wholesalers will try and compare a property that was built in 2018, right, to one that was built in 1950 or 1940. You are talking apples and oranges at that point, right? A lot of construction changes can take place over the years. What do I mean by that? I mean design changes, layouts, right? Now, open floor plans are a really big thing, right? Where you walk into a house, you don't feel sectioned off like the older properties used to be. The kitchen isn't closed off like it used to be. Back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, a big design change was the kitchen was like boxed off, right? Because you didn't want to see who was in the kitchen making the food, right? Everyone was hanging out in the living room, and you didn't want to see the kitchen because that was like messy, and you didn't want to mix that with like a social area, right? But now the trend that's going on is people want open spaces. So the older that you go in properties, the more design changes like that take place, and the more money that your buyer is going to have to spend into modifying that property to bring it up to today's standards. Does that make sense, guys? Just go ahead and comment if that makes sense in the comments, because a lot of wholesalers get this wrong. And because of that, they'll start trying to estimate repair costs and stuff like that. It's crazy. So that's a conversation for another day. But the point is your buyers are going to want to buy at a lower price for properties that are older than properties that are newer. Okay, so that's the reason why you can't compare a 2018 property to a 1950 property, or you can't compare a property built in 1950 to 1990. So there you go, hammered that. So so those are 4 things. Now there's several other things to look at, but those are the core 4 that I call. Okay, the core 4. So write those down. And by the way, guys, this is going to be content rich. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing with you guys for free more than what most people pay for, right? So I want you guys to take notes on this and write this down, because I'm big on action. I don't want you consuming content like Netflix. I want you to be taking notes, writing things down, and immediately leaving from here and taking action, as that's the best way that you're going to ensure your success. Okay. All right, cool. Enough talking from me. I'm going to go ahead and share. I'm going to go over and share my screen with Propstream. We're going to take a look at this first property. Looks like I got 3 houses to value. I love that. Now, there are subtle changes that can take place when it comes to houses in certain areas. Like some houses, like give an example, basements are not a thing in Florida, right? But they are a thing in other states, right? There are certain states that have houses that have only detached garages, and then there's states that only have houses where the garages are built in the house. But those are all small little things, and don't worry about that kind of stuff. Okay, so we're going to show you how to do this. So right now we're looking at Propstream. If you guys can all see this, I see that. Cooking a meal together has become part of the entertainment and social aspect of get-togethers. Boom, 100%. It is the thing right now, right? Social, being together, entertaining. There's houses that are built right now, new construction houses that even have 2 islands in them, right? With 2 sinks. One for like appetizers and planning and stuff like that. And the other one is for just the standard island in the middle, which is crazy. But that's just an example of the design changes. There used to be houses where you could you walk into the house and then you see like a living room in front of you, but you had to step down to get into the living room. So lots of changes. Okay. So that's not so popular anymore. People would like trip and die over something like that today. So so what you guys can see right now is Propstream. So I'm going to blow this up. And the first property we're going to look at is this 110 Mary Hill Drive in Longview, Washington. So 110 Mary, what did that say? 110 Mary Hill Drive. So Mary Hill Drive, and that is in Kelso, Washington, Longview, Washington. Drive. Let's try Longview. It could be that Longview shares a zip code with Kelsey or Kelso, and that's the reason why in Propstream it's coming up. That is that right? Whoever that gave that first address, that Mary Hill Drive, I can't see your name. It just says Facebook user, Kelso. Okay, cool. So it probably shares a zip code with it. All right. So what we got here is this is Propstream. So I put in the address here, as you guys can see. It's come up here. It gives you a lot of really cool stuff. It shows you the average days on market, so you can see how hot an area is, how fast homes are selling. That's a really big deal. And what I like about this one so far is it seems like there's a lot of activity around this one. So let's go to details. All right. So what we're looking at here is a single family residence. So single family properties. I recommend, guys, when you are starting to wholesale, that you only work with single family properties. Don't work with condos, townhouses, multifamily, nothing like that, because there's more moving parts for those types of properties. Not so much for townhouses, but more so for like condos and multifamily. And I really just recommend keeping it simple, because when you first get started, you have a very limited capacity for or you're very impatient when it comes to challenges and obstacles, right? And it's very easy to get stuck. You're like looking at something, you can't value it, and then you get stuck, right? So what you want to shoot for when you first get started is keeping things as simple on you as possible, and focus on getting stuck, spending time getting stuck, a very small amount of time there, right? So if you find yourself getting stuck, ask yourself, what's the easy way that I could just move forward, right? So just don't get focused on getting hung up on things too much. Okay. So this is the property right here. It's built in 1971. It's a 1,320 square foot property. The cool thing is we can click this and you can take this little guy and drop him right here. In most places where there's like a Google Maps. Okay. This area probably doesn't have it. Let me see if I switch to maps. Okay. So it doesn't like that area too much for some reason. But that's okay. So here, what I also like about this is you can see all the information here that's in public records about this property. You can see the neighborhood. You can see that the owner name is here. The mailing address is here. And what's really interesting here is this is an absentee owned property. So an investor owns this property. Maybe someone bought it and they used to live in the house and they moved out of state, or they moved to a different area and now they have a house that is a rental house for them, right? So how I figured that out is because the address is 110 Mary Hill Drive and the seller's mailing address is right here. Another situation this could be is maybe the seller does live here, but this also could be a post office box. Very simple to look this up and find that out. Just plug that into Google. If it comes up as like a UPS box, then you know that's probably where the seller lives. But if it's a different like physical address, and that's probably the seller's address where he currently lives or she currently lives. Cool. All right, so let's get into value of the property here. So Propstream has some cool features here: property details, comparables. This is where we're going to value it. Tax information, so you can see all the info on the tax sites. I like this feature right here, this linked properties, because it shows that this seller owns 5 other properties. How powerful is that, guys? If you're on a conversation with a seller and you're talking about one property, and let's say you get one property in a contract and you're like, by the way, I noticed in public records that you have some other properties that you own. Would you consider selling any of those? Right? Boom. They're like, you know what? Actually, yes. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to us where we've been focusing on one property, come to find out the seller has more than one property. And we ask them and they're like, yeah, I would. But it's funny, sellers will not volunteer information sometimes unless you ask, right? So this is where this is kind of neat, because you could turn one deal into 2, 3, 4, whatever, right? All right, so let's get to valuing the property. All right, So this area, what I like to do to start is I like to look at properties, sold properties on the MLS first. Now, the MLS is the multiple listing service. So if someone lists a house with a realtor, that is going to be considered an MLS sale when that property closes. The reason I like this is because usually when people list properties with realtors, they sell for their highest dollar amount, right? Because the realtor does what's called a CMA, a comparative market analysis. He values the properties and they get full dollar for that property when they're listing it. Now, public record sales, these are sales that are sold off market. Off market sales typically happen lower because the sellers don't know how to value their own properties. They just kind of put it out there as a FSBO, for sale by owner. It sells. Maybe they left a lot of money on the table. Maybe they didn't. Maybe the property's in too rough a condition to be listed with a realtor. So I don't use public record sales unless I absolutely have to. If you want to see them both, you just click both. But I always start off with MLS. And so what I like about this area here that you showed me is in 98626 is this area seems to have a decent amount of sales here. Not a lot, but a decent amount, enough to be able to value it when it comes to recently sold properties. So what I'm going to do here is I have the date range set within the last year. You can buffer this back to 6 months if you want. The cool thing is Propstream. Remember we talked about the 20% larger and 20% lower. Propstream already figures that out for you. So it basically puts that right here. Okay. The distance, we're going to start with a half a mile because it looks like we have 5 comps here. We could go 0.25 for a quarter mile. And it looks like there could potentially be enough properties there for us to be able to go a quarter mile. But I want to make sure that these selling in the 4s right here, I want to see why they sold in the 4s compared to these properties here. Okay. So these may not be fully renovated. Maybe these are. So we'll find that out here in a second. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do residential. Property type is going to be single family, and the year built over here, we're going to do 1961 to 1981, 10 years up and down. Okay. So now you see why I didn't go back, why I didn't adjust that to a quarter mile just yet. All right. So the issue here so far is that we only have one sale that's really ideal. So we might have to step outside of this box that we're in right here just to get a few more sales so we can come up with an accurate value. Because you really want to have 3 sales. But this one right here, if it's fully renovated, is going to be probably the best fit as far as the value of this property. But let's take a look. Okay, so I see one picture there, but that doesn't show me very much. Okay, so Propstream unfortunately doesn't keep the listing photos loaded up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google and I punch this in here and I'm going to see a listing right here where it has MLS number. So this right here probably still has the MLS photos. Okay, it does. All right, so this property right here, all right, looks good on the outside. Looks pretty renovated here. It has granite countertops. Okay. Could be a little older cabinets, but I mean, the property looks pretty good. Okay. This looks pretty good. So now what I want to do, now that I know what that one looks like, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to take off the year built for a second because this is one of the big things. I'd rather take off year built than I would go out further. Okay. So now I see 2 properties. This one sold for $380. So let's take a look at this one. Okay. We're going to click here. I'm going to take a look. Okay. So this one looks a lot more renovated because you can see like this just okay. So this property here, I'm just going to see, whoops, that's the wrong property there. Give me 1 minute. 110. So our property here is 110 Maryhill Drive. So let me go back here to Redfin, see if I can find a picture of this home anywhere. See, this is a little bit different. When you don't see a picture here, you know, sometimes it can be a little tough because, you know, you don't really know what the house looks like. But let me go back here and see property details, stories. Okay, story. So it's a one-story property. Okay, so this is looks like a two-story property. So I probably want to use I probably would want to use this one here, right? Because this one's fully renovated. All right, so this one is 168 Hometown Drive. All right, so being that, whoops, hold on one second. I don't know where that went. I had everything pulled up here. Here we go. Okay, so so what I want to do here is I want to take a look at that one property, which was 168 or 186 Hometown Drive. That's this property right here, and I venture to say that this property is going to be this property's after repaired value in its best possible condition. But I'm going to show you how I'd figure that out. So what I want to do now is I want to look at this property. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, very similar to, oops, here we go. So let's go back because you guys couldn't see that. I didn't realize it. So here we don't have a lot of comps to work with, but I'm more convinced this 186 Hometown Drive property is closer to our property because our property is a 1-story property. This property is 1-story. It looks more renovated. This is built in 1998, so that's a little bit of the thing. It's much newer than that. But again, we only have so much to work with. So if you wanted to be aggressive in the value of the property, you could possibly use this one just because there's not a lot of comps. Okay. I know what I said before about build year, but sometimes you have to work with what you have. But if you wanted to be more conservative, you could use this one. So how I would do that is I would go like this. I would say this property here has sold for a sold price per square foot of $259.26. So we'll do a calculator. You pull out your calculator, type in 259.26, and you're going to multiply that times the square footage of our property, which is 1320. So what that does is that comes back with an overall value of 342. All right, so 342,000. But our property also has another bedroom, and this one right here has one less bedroom. So what I would probably do is I would go ahead and add 10,000 bucks on top of that because that's usually the value that an extra bedroom brings. And so if you're going to be conservative, you could say the value of our property is 352,000. Okay. Or if you wanted to be a tad more aggressive, and again, it could be debatable because this again is a newer house built in 1998. Ours is built in 1971. But sometimes when appraiser is looking at a property, they will use those only if they have to, meaning if they don't have enough sales to work with, like we're in a situation like we're in right now. Okay, so so this property here sold for $279 a square foot. So $279. We're going to multiply that times our property of 1320. Okay, so 368. Okay, so you could say that our property could sell anywhere from 350 to 368, 350 to 370. So if you wanted to just say, okay, I'm going to come up with a value, I would call it 360 and call it a day. So that's how I value this property at right here, 360. Now, sometimes the estimated values with Propstream are a little bit higher. Sometimes they're a little bit lower. Certain markets, they're spot on. So I wouldn't really pay too much attention to this right here. But I would say 360 can be a safe number to go with on this property right here. Do you guys have any questions as far as what I did there, how I went about it? Let me just see, pop over to the question mark, pop over to the comments here. Kelso, okay, cool. Any questions there? The person that submitted the 110 Maryhill Drive? Go ahead and drop those comments and we'll move on to the next property. So as you guys can see, I took a few minutes to stop and take a look at things, and looked around. But even so, we did that in less than 15 minutes, and I could have gone much faster. But I want to take time for you guys and show you guys the ins and outs of this so you can get this down. This is one of the most important things, skills that you can get down as a wholesaler, because your spreads, how much money you make, all start here with valuing the property the right way. Okay, all starts here with valuing the property the right way. Let's see. Kelso, no, thank you so much. Awesome. Good stuff. Love that. And Washington's a hot state. Very, very hot for real estate. So Washington is a fantastic area to virtual wholesale in. So let's pop down over here to this other property. We got 731 Pinehurst Drive in Richardson, Texas. So 731 Pinehurst Drive in Richardson, Texas. So 731 Pinehurst Drive. Oh, I love Texas. Richardson, Texas. All right. And what county is Richardson in, just out of curiosity? Go ahead and drop that in the comments. We're going to look at 731 Pinehurst Drive, Richardson, Texas. Okay. So I'm going to go to the details here. All right. So we got Pinehurst Drive. And so what we can tell about this property, it's a single family property, has one, let me go down to story. Okay. Number of stories. It's a single story property. Okay. Single family property, like we said, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,509 square feet, built in 1961. Okay, looks like it's in more of like a subdivision type area, which is good. So let's go over here to comparables. So let's go over here to the MLS. And on that last property, I just thought about something. To get a few more comps, what I could have done is I probably could have gone to Public Record and just grabbed some more sales from that. But we're moving kind of quick here and don't have much time together. So I just want to show you how I would look at it really quickly on the fly and how you guys could too. I find that a lot of people get stuck running comps and they'll sit there for like 45 minutes to an hour. If you're like me when I first got started, and then after looking at it for an hour, I'd be like, okay, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow with fresh eyes and take a look at it again. So I'd waste so much time, guys. So this stuff that I'm giving you right now is gold. It's the shortcut to being able to value houses and make better offers. Okay, if you're making a ton of offers and they're not getting accepted, chances are you possibly got the value of the property the wrong way. All right. So let's dive in. So properties within that sold within a year. We're going to start with a half mile. I may even whittle this down to a quarter mile just because there's so many sales. I love areas like this even better because when you have a ton of sales, that's fantastic. That means everybody wants to buy there. It's easy and you're going to be able to value houses with confidence fairly quickly. Okay. So let's go over here. So 1961, this house was built. So 1951 to 1971. Okay, so we got that. So we selected our MLS sales within a quarter mile, residential, single family. That's the type of property it is. Fantastic. Love that. And we have all these sales here. This is great. So I'm going to take a look at this. Now, what you'll see these on Propstream from time to time. These properties here are for rent on the MLS. So you don't want to use those, obviously. That'll really drag things down. But I'm going to look for a pattern here, okay? And this is something that after doing this for a while, I've noticed that you can value properties quickly by looking at patterns. Okay, so give you an example. This one sold for $349. Okay, this one sold for $385, $360. Okay, so what I would guess just from taking a look at these really quickly is that I would guess that these properties are possibly, not in all cases, but possibly not renovated, whereas the ones that sold in the fours possibly are renovated. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at these ones in the fours. Okay, so I'm going to look at this one, see if there's pictures still here. Great, the pictures are still posted. All right, looks great. Yes, renovated. Love it. Love it. Backsplash, all the common things that people look for. Shiny new appliances. Great. Love that. So let's see if I was right in my assumption on those other properties, like the ones that sold for $349, $385. Let's see if this property here was was not renovated. So let's pull this up here. Okay. So I'm going to share this tab right here so you guys can see. I'm going to see pictures of this one here. Okay. So let's go back. They don't have all the pictures. Let's go to Redfin. Take a look at this one here. Boom. Okay, see? Exactly. So this one was not renovated at all. It's move-in ready, just not renovated. So a lot of wholesalers will use this as their main comp. And the problem is that it will really drag the value down. So you'll leave a ton of money on the table. You'll make a lower offer to the seller, won't get accepted, and things are not going to be good. Now, some of you guys may be looking at this and be like, wait a second, Chris. Texas is a non-disclosure state, right? So how does Propstream have the values here? All right, so with Propstream, how it works is Propstream provides estimates of values, and these are known to be 95% and 98% accurate. So just know that this right here is Propstream's best estimate of what this property sold for. Because in a state like Florida, that's a disclosure state. Sales are published publicly for the general public. No problem there. Easy to run comps. Properties that are in non-disclosure states like Texas, Propstream has to go with like an estimate, right? Because this is not officially connected with the MLS, and it doesn't have sale data because the county and the local government keeps that stuff private, just because of the state that it is. So, but I love Texas. Texas is fantastic. Let's take a look at this one here and see if this one was, yeah, see, this one wasn't renovated either, but it's clean, move-in ready. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take these two properties here because these are more than likely renovated, just given the price. And then I'm going to come down here to this 385, and I'm just going to see if this 385 one was renovated. Possibly, given that it sold for 385. So let's go through here and take a look. So let me go to this HAR. This is really where you want to go for Texas properties because they keep the sales up longer, or the pictures up longer. Yeah, this looks renovated to me. Boom. Okay, cool. So I found my three comps. Pretty simple, right? I got this one because it sold for higher. I got this one here and this one. Now, one thing you want to make sure, Texas has a combination of single-story houses and two-story houses. So I just want to make sure these are single-story houses as well, to where we're not going to run into any issues there. So because you don't really want to compare a single-story house to a two-story. So I'm just going to check that out real quick. Okay, so that's single story. Yeah, cool. They're all single story properties that we're working with. All right, so these are the ones I would use. I would use this one, and this one right here. Okay, so what we have here is we have an overall sold price per square foot at $263.71. So we take $263.71 on a calculator, and I'm going to multiply that times 1509. Boom. That says this property could sell for roughly $397,000. So just shy of 400K is what this property is worth in its best possible condition. And those are the three comps that I would use. I would use Pinehurst Drive. I would use this one off Pinehurst, and then Warren Way. Now, one thing you got to keep in mind, and this is more of like advanced, but if you want to try and not get two properties that are on the same street unless they're on your street, because there could be something different about this street than this one here, and why this one sold for 385 and this sold for 414. Maybe it's a more desirable part of the street. But sometimes no, sometimes yes. But that's just like a little detail you can look at. But it doesn't look like that's the case here. So we're just going to go with that. We got our 3 and we're moving on. So 399. So any questions about this one? Dallas, boom, in the house. Love Dallas. Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, also very good too. The person that submitted this one here, a Pinehurst, any questions on that? If not, we're moving on. Forever hold your peace. Cool. Okay, no questions. Good. If you have any, and you ask him here in a second, we can always go back. So let me go back to the next property. So the next property, as you can see, we're blasting through these, right? What do you guys think so far? Has this been helpful? Has this been something that where you can see that you can take this and apply it and get better results than what you're getting right now? Go ahead and drop those comments. Remember, I thrive off of engagement. The value I deliver is in direct proportion to how engaged you guys are on here, right? So I like going deep, right? I don't like giving you guys fluff. I like cutting through all the garbage that's out there today, and I'm just giving you the stuff, guys. This is exactly what you guys need. Roz, awesome. Thank you. Love that. Love that. Okay, cool. So 161. So this is the next property here. 161 Northeast 47th Street in Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma, one of the things I like about virtual is Oklahoma, you need a real estate license in order to wholesale houses. Now, there is a little gray workaround area where as long as you don't market the house, physically market the house to a buyer, technically you can get away with it. And I even think there's a limit, like you can do 1 or 2 houses a year or something like that there. But anyway, the thing is no matter how you slice it, when you're wholesaling houses, you're always going to be marketing, whether it's in a conversation or an existing relationship. You're already, man, I can't even talk. You're always marketing, right? So one of the things that I would say that if you were in Oklahoma, it would either be to get your real estate license, or I would recommend to wholesale in another state, right? You could do a couple of deals in Oklahoma a year, but I would focus your efforts in another state, because not all states require a real estate license to wholesale or give you a lot of hoops to jump through or anything like that. So I just like the easier route, right? And that's why we're virtual here. We're not limited to any one state. We're limited, 52 states, right? All the states. So, okay, so this one here, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet, typical cookie cutter house. Guys, I love these properties you're submitting. And you know what this tells me? That you guys are doing marketing the right way, right? Because when you start coming across funky properties, yeah, it used to be a quadplex or a 4-family, but it was converted to a single family, and now the homeowner wants to sell it, but he wants top price, and it looks like a bomb hit it on the inside. It needs everything. Those are the types of properties, guys, that get wholesalers stuck, and you want to stay away from those. As wholesalers, guys, we want easy. We want cookie cutter. We want the houses that our buyers want. So our buyers tell us where they're buying. We go get those houses, bring them to them. Boom, makes the process so much easier. That's our FYBF method. Find your buyer first. So we're going to come over here. Property type, single family. Now, quick quiz. All right. Based on what I've shared with you before, what would I put in here for the year built? If the property is built in 1954, what span of houses of year built would I compare our property to? Go ahead and drop that in the comments. This house was built in 1954. So what range of houses would I compare it to? Go ahead and drop that in the comments. So let's see here. So, okay, 1944, 1964. Let's see here. So 1944 to 1964. Okay, good. No, perfect. Exactly. So 1944, nice work. 1944 to 1964, right? So that's what I'm going to put in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it in MLS. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the properties that sold. Okay. So over here, it looks like this is a cheaper area here. All these properties are selling in the hundreds. You got this one's selling for $199, $630, $200,000. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So number one, $84,000. So this property probably was not renovated. So let me go ahead and punch this into another browser tab here, and let's take a look at this and see the condition of this one here. Yeah, so this was a wholesale deal all day long. Look at that. Love that. Boom. That's a wholesale. That's what a wholesale deal looks like. So very cool. Okay, so let's go to share this tab, and I'll come back and answer some questions here in a second. So this one was not renovated. So I'm going to go take a look at ones like this one right here, this number 4. Because number 4 looks like it was probably renovated. Okay, so 165 it sold for. You got 199, 200. Let's see where 7 and 8 are. So 7 and 8. Here's 8. So this is in Spring Lake. So I may not want to use that one because that's a different neighborhood. So these are in South Park Estates. So that's probably where I want to stick. This one sold for 200,000 over here. This number 7. Where's number 7? I'm gonna find number. Okay, number 7. Okay. All right. So, okay, and 7 sold in Highly Wildwood. So that's not in South Park Estates. So I probably would not want to use 7 or 8. You possibly could, but I would not, because you can see if this property is renovated right here, there's a value difference in subdivisions. Okay. So this is the stuff that they don't teach you like in courses, guys. Like the stuff that's raw, that's out there, and that not many people talk about. All right. Okay, so this property does not look renovated, really. Looks like a new paint floor. Okay, never mind. Yeah, all right. This looks like areas like this, guys, properties where the house are selling for $200,000 and less. Typically, these are like rental areas, right? So this one sold for 165. So let me go to both here and see if I can. So there's other ones. So this one was, whoops, let me get rid of that one. Okay, so this one was Casper Drive. That was 4304 Casper. So let me do this. So I'm branching out here to the off-market sales. So 4304 Casper, let me just reselect that one. Whoops, here we go. So 165, that's what that sold for. Then let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other ones. As you can see, it duplicates these because whenever something's sold in MLS, it records it in public records. So that's why it'll show a duplicate. So just ignore that. Let's see, 165. Okay, 169. So number 8, where's number 8 at? Number 8 is in South Park Estates. I like that. So you can see some consistency there. See that? 168. So I'm kind of, we're getting an idea of the value here, right? I probably would not select number 11 because number 11, even though it's in South Park Estates on 127.5, let's see if this one sold. Let's see if this one was, we're probably not going to see if this property is renovated just because it was sold off market. Yeah, see, this one was not renovated and it's sold off market. Yeah, again, this is a wholesale house right here, right? Okay, cool. So we don't have 3, but I have 2 so far. I have 2 really solid ones. Let's see if we can look at any of these others. I don't want to use these. I don't want to use these here, right? So I'm just going to use these 2 because we confirmed that 4304 Casper was renovated. Looks good on the outside, right? So I would probably just use those 2 for this. So now I've come up with a price per square foot of $114.34. I'm going to take that 114, 34, multiply that times 1,500, our square footage. Boom. So it says that our property value is like right at like 171, 170. So I feel confident in that. And that's what the property can sell for fully renovated. But given this area and how properties are renting out for, let's see, let me go back to MLS here. Okay, so I don't see any rental comps here. That's okay. Doesn't mean there's anything for rent. So, but I'd venture to say, like, if I looked at this one here on Zillow, let's just see what the estimated rents are in this area. This is going to be a rental. Whoops, shoot, hold on, guys, 1 second. I don't know why that happened. 235. So this one's for sale for 235. Interesting. So your property is for sale. 16, 17. Huh. Interesting. Okay. So, was that, let me see here, built in 1954. Really? So, okay. So this one is an example of one that we'd have to dive into a little bit longer because that is really interesting. See, that is fully Mac Daddy renovated. So what we found here, guys, so again, what you may find when you're coming up with values here is you may find that, let me make sure that was the same property because that's really strange. Highlights, details. Interesting. Okay, well, I put my foot in my mouth on this one, but I don't know why you'd want to value a property that is fully renovated on the market. This would not be a wholesale deal to focus on. 1617. I want to make sure that came back with the right property. 1617 Northeast 47th Street. Okay. Yeah. So this is not a wholesale deal, but this is one of those situations where if you see something like this, that's a red flag where you got to go back and take a look at your numbers again. Okay. So we came up with 171, but obviously these people think differently. But at the same time, this property has also been on the market for how long? But this is also like a Mac Daddy renovation. They put a lot of money into this thing. If you look at these pictures, but this has been on the market for how long here? Let's scroll down. Yeah, it's been on the market for 118 days. Not a bad number of saves though. So yeah, so this one probably, in this case, maybe what you would want to do on this one is we would want to use the higher valued properties here. So instead of 171, because 171 gets us like a basic remodel, you guys can obviously see the difference in this remodel here that they did. This is like a rental remodel versus the one that they got going on here. I mean, this property here has been decked out, right? So they could have possibly over renovated this property for the area because I haven't seen other properties that are in the same condition. So what does over renovating means? That means it's simply they're never going to get the dollar amount that they're trying to get because they put way too much money into the property. It's not required for this type of an area that the property's in. So this property could possibly sell for lower. So, but if you wanted to be more aggressive on your numbers, you would select these two right here at 170, 199 and 200. Take a look at 128.52. Okay, multiply that times the square footage of 1,500 of ours. Okay, that puts you at 192. So this one's like way overpriced. They put way too much money into it. And it's probably going to be tough to get people approved for that, that other property because of how much money they put into it. Just a guess. I may be wrong, right? But this is why, you know, when you get this down, going quick is good. But sometimes you see things like this you see things like this that really stop you in your tracks, and you're like, interesting. All right, well, maybe I need to go back and take a look at the numbers. I thought this was an advertisement for Zillow at one point, but yeah, so that's what I would say there. So good. I love when you guys throw me curveballs like that. Make it challenging. All right, so let's take a look at what we got here. Questions. Let's see. Can't see the map you're working on. Still on Zillow page. Been on the market for 116 days. Tax lien adjustable loan. 88% at equity. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you for sure. So you're talking about this property right here, but this is not a wholesale house, right? Not a wholesale house. Maybe if you're looking at doing creative finance or something like that, that's not really what we do here. But if you were looking at doing something like that, possibly. But even so, guys, I see a lot of guys that are doing creative finance that are getting themselves in trouble because they are they're getting themselves in trouble because they are getting properties with no equity in them whatsoever, right? Like once they take it over from the seller, like give an example, we showed that at the most that property could probably sell for 192, just under 200,000, and they're selling it for over 250. Let's say the seller says, yeah, I'd be open to terms on this property at 230, right? But the problem is if you're 30K underwater right there. And some would say, well, no, but Chris, they have a 3% interest rate on their mortgage and stuff like this. That's fine. But it doesn't matter what strategy you use. You always want to buy at a discount, always, right? So, but I like what you noticed there, how you saw tax delinquent, adjustable loan, 88% equity. Your mind track is on the right, is going down the right path there. But unless you're looking at, again, doing something with creative financing, I would not pursue that property. It's going to be a waste of time, just because it's not a wholesale deal, right? So, because the question is, you get it for a discount. The only thing you can do is take it and put it back up on the MLS and sell it for a spread to someone who's going to buy and live in there. And they're not able to sell it right now. So that wouldn't really be a strategy for this one. So maybe they're trying to offload and get out, possibly, right? Minus 88% equity. Yep. Okay, cool. So Amber says, oh yeah, great work there. You're well trained. Oh, love it. Okay, 1944 and 86. Great. Okay, so another person asked, do you think that different applications give different comp suggestions? Deal Machine versus Propstream? Absolutely. You're going to get different comps and batch leads that you're going to get from Propstream, and from Propstream to Deal Machine. It just really depends on the integration they have. So what I would say is either switch to Propstream or just use comps to the best of your ability for what you have. But that's why I like going on MLS properties. And I like using services to value houses that have some type of an MLS connection. Okay. And that's why it's really important, because there's a lot of different types of off-market sales, and off-market sales don't always have pictures. But when you go to on-market sales that have been listed on the MLS, that's going to be the way to value the properties in the best way possible, right? But I know what you're talking about. There's lots of different software out there. They all have their own different connections, but just use one that has the most comparable sales available for the properties you're looking at. Maybe that's Propstream for you. Maybe that's Deal Machine. Maybe it's something else. But I would suggest, if you're having a hard time valuing properties with the software you have, maybe pop over to Propstream. Deal Machine is great for a lot of other things. There's so much in that software. So not saying you can't use that if you switch to Propstream, but yeah, this is just what I've been using for a long time. Okay, so Amber, I'll tell you what, we'll do one more property here. Your property here in Texas. Hang tight. So the best denominator is using MLS properties. Yes, absolutely, 100%. Don't use off-market sales unless you absolutely have to, because off-market sales sell for lower than properties that are listed with a realtor. And that's just a fact if you look at properties that have been sold. And typically, properties that sell off-market, they are not renovated. And so that's another reason why you see them selling for lower. Now, I don't typically go for a full hour on these things, but because I like Amber and you guys have been so awesome with your engagement, I'm going to go ahead and value one more property here, but feel free to ask your questions and I'll go along and answer them as we go on here. So Amber said, let's see which her property. Okay, 7540 Connemara Drive in Cypress, Texas. So let's hit that up. Okay, so 7540 Connemara Drive. So 7540 Connemara Drive, Cypress, Texas. Again, Texas. Don't mess with Texas, guys. I love Texas. Well, do mess with it. It's a great place to go. But anyway. All right. So let me go ahead and share my screen because I don't think you guys can see. Yeah. Share screen, share screen. And guys, I'm really bad with the whole screen sharing thing sometimes. So if I'm talking about a property and you can't see it, be really quick in the comments there because I'm not the best at that. My team gets on me all the time about that. Okay, great. So let's go to details. We're going to come over here to look at the property, single family, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Looks like they have larger lots here. Okay. Let's see. Length of ownership, 10 years. That's cool. Owner occupied. Seller lives at the same address they get mail. Fantastic. Comparable sales at the top over there. All right. So we're going to select MLS. Look at this. This is why I love Texas, guys. I love Texas. And this is the reason why. Do you think you're going to have a hard time running comps in Texas? I mean, look at this. This is bananas. So anyway, so let's go over here to 0.25. Okay. We're going to go to residential. Excuse me. So I went to 1/4 mile. We're going to do year built 2013. That's another reason why I love Texas. Newer properties. Amber, here's your moment to shine. What is that year built range? If someone else wants to answer, feel free. Comparing what type of year built do I need to compare against properties that are built in 2013? Got my Antigua coffee cup here. One of my favorite places to vacation. Love it. All right, let's see. So what year built range do we use, Amber? 2003 to 2023? I don't know about that. So 2003. Oh, yes, you're right. 2003. I must have been having a dad moment there for a second. I have a little baby. He's 9 months old and keeps me up at night. So, okay. So 2003 to 2023. So 10 years, right? To 2023. Nice job, Amber. Nice job. Okay. Again, another reason I love Texas. You have really tight parameters here, so you can come up with an exact number fairly quickly. All right. So one thing I'd be aware of, though, is you see this creek? I wouldn't pull anything on that side. Even though it's within 1/4 mile, I would not pull anything on this side unless you absolutely have to. I consider that a dividing line, and so I would not use that. So I'm going to focus on these guys right here. Okay. So if you want, you could even use some type of, you could use this pencil and you could circle these properties, but I'm not going to do that. So we're just going to use those. So let's take a look at these. So we have, oh, excuse me. No, I wouldn't use the ones on this side because ours is on the other side of the creek. So ours is the red one right here. So I would stick to properties on the other side of the creek. This could be a completely different neighborhood. And so we want to look at that. And ours also has a really big lot here. I love that. Okay. So I'm going to use 1, 3, and 4. Although these properties would possibly sell for more than 4 because they have bigger lots from what you can see. It gets real cramped down there. So 1, 3, and 4. Okay. So deselect these. So 1, 3, that's a rental comp. Can't use that. And 4. Okay. So I got 1 and 4 for right now. All right. So 1 and 4. So where is 4? All right. 4. And I'd be willing to bet that's all for less. 314 versus 319. Okay. not too bad. What that means is that added land does not really translate into much additional value here. It's more of like a desirability thing, right? So 1 and 4. So let's take a look at that. So these are the comps I would probably use. So let's go over here. And guys, by the way, I'm not perfect at this. I get numbers wrong from time to time, but that's why you want to take your time going through this. And eventually, after doing this as long as I have, you'll be able to knock these out fairly quickly. Okay, I'm gonna go to the HAR because I love the HAR site. Okay, so this is a 2-story house. Love that 2-story house. Okay, so this is one of the comps. All right. Whoops. We got a fully remodeled kitchen there. Love that. Okay. It looks like it's the original kitchen, actually. Nope. And this is this right here is not granite. Okay. Yeah. So this looks like it's the original original condition. The house was built. It's a newer house. The house was built in 2013. So that's okay. So I looked at that one, saw that one. Now let me take a look at the other property here. We're going to take a look at this one. Look on the HAR. Well maintained. Okay, so this one looked like it had a few more upgrades. So this property was built in, let's see. So the second property was built in 2013, same year as the other one. So they just got some more upgrades here. So, okay, 2-story, cool. Looking good here. All right. Ooh, look at that red carpet. Shoot, get that out of there. Looks like they remodeled the bathroom since they bought it, which is cool. So this one had a remodeled bathroom. Okay. So this one here, debatable if you could use this one as the fully remodeled one, because again, there's still some features about it that are not fully remodeled, but you go with what you have. Let me take a look at number 4. So we looked at 4. Okay, and then 1 and 3. 3 was that one. Okay. So let's take a look at 2 and see if that sold for substantially different on the other side of the creek here. So 309, and this property was 2,350 square feet. Yeah, so these properties sell for a lot less. So 309 and 2,350 square feet. This one sold for 314, 2,000 square feet. So there's definitely a difference in house style over here, from what I can tell. Potentially. Number 7, this one over here on the other side of the creek sold for 297.5. All right. And this one was 2,196 square feet. Interesting. Okay. So I can take a look at this one and just see what's going on with it. I'm going to plop that into Zillow here or Google, pull up the HAR site on it. Okay. So this one looks like it was definitely remodeled. Like this is brand new, a brand new remodel from what it looks like here. This property was built in, let's see, what year built was this one? This was the Shavano Court. Year built was 2010. Wow, it's an older property, but it's just been remodeled. Okay. All right. So you know what? In this case, it's 297.5. Because that was fully remodeled, from what I can tell. Let me see if this is a single story or 2-story. I can't remember. Maybe you guys can remember. Okay, it's a single story property. And then our property, let's see the property details. Our 2-story, I really don't want to compare against that. So on this one here, I'd like to dig a little bit deeper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say both public record sales and. Okay, so we're going to keep everything here. And so this one, I would do 1, 2, like we did before. Let's see, 3. Let's see if we can get any other sales over here to support a higher value. Okay, we got 10 over here. What is 10? 10, so it's a rental. Number 4, 314. Oh, that's what we were using before, using that number 4. Oh, actually, no, that one was that was not renovated. So I think we're using 1, 2 there, and Connemara. Yeah, I would not compare against this one because, again, this is a single-story house, different area. So based on this one right here, let me look at this one, see if this was the other one we were looking at. Okay, 7502. Okay, so that's a single story too. So give me 1 second here, guys. Amber threw me a curveball here, which is okay. I love that. Let me con over here, Connemara Drive. Our property is in Connemara. So I like this because it's on the same street, right? I love when properties are on the same street. So in this area, you know, what I would probably do, whoops, I'm sorry, guys. Hang on. Can't see your Propstream. Thanks. 1 second. So in this one here, here we go. Okay. Yeah. So in this one here, sorry, guys, I just saw that. I would potentially use this one. So 319, 380. Okay. 319, 380. That's just the condition of houses that are in this area, right? So 319, 380. The sold price per square foot of this is 132. Let's see what that does for value times 2420. Yeah, so it says that this property is worth 319 in its best possible condition, or if it's in the condition of this other property. So that other property that I pulled up over, share this tab instead. That other property that I pulled up, give me 1 second here, guys. I want to say it was number 7 or 9. Where was that? 7. Shavano Court. Oh, here we go. Shavano Court. This other one. This one kind of skewed the value a little bit. Let's see what this one does. Okay, so I know this is a single-story house. I like to try and compare properties that are fully renovated and on the other side of the creek. But let's just see what this one would do to the numbers. Okay, so right now our value is 319 that we're going off of. But this one, if we use this one, times our square footage was 2420. That would put the value at 327. So it doesn't change it too much, right? So you could be conservative, say 319, aggressive, say 330, and then kind of go from there. And that's probably what I would do at that point. Let me see this other one here real quick before we do. Okay, that's not renovated. Wonder if I can, this one's over 359. I'd like to see that, see what that one did. Share this tab here, guys. And okay, let's take a look at, whoops. Yeah, I'm not going to use that one. different style of house. Okay, so what I would say, Amber, for your property, I would say anywhere from 320 to 330, it would be a great estimate of value on this, because that's just what properties are selling for in this area, right? The 359, you saw that was a totally different type of house. And so that's what I feel comfortable with on this one, and what I would end up going with. So awesome. Very cool, guys. What do you guys think? You got a lot of value out of today's session? Toggle screens. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I told you I'm bad about this. Oh, yes, he's right. 7540 is a huge lot next to the majority of the lots around it. Yep, it does. But what I found is that in this area, it doesn't look like a bigger lot translates into value. Remember, guys, the highest and best use of land is what determines value. And if there's nothing, like no other use for it outside of like it's nice to have, then it really doesn't affect the value of the house that much. It's more of a desirability things. And also a bigger lot could also be a negative thing for people on the market too. First thing people look at, shoot, that's a lot of grass to cut. Now I have to hire a landscaping company to go out and do that. So a bigger lot may not always be a benefit. So just remember that. Okay, great, guys. Very cool. So I've enjoyed this session with you guys today. Go ahead and drop your comments. Let me know what you thought about today's session. I'd love to hear it. And in the meantime, if you guys got value out of this, what I'd recommend, let's say you're in real estate right now. You've just been really struggling, haven't got your first deal, still working on your first deal, and you're wanting to get the shortcut like I've showed you here today and take next steps, and you'd like to dive deeper, get the results that we're getting and our clients are getting. What I recommend for you to do is go to virtualwholesalingmadesimple.com and apply to work with me one-on-one. And I want you to be detailed in your responses when you apply, because I have limited capacity, I can't take on everybody, but if I like what you have to say, I'll consider bringing you on as a client. So again, what I'd recommend doing is going to virtualwholesalingmadesimple.com to apply to work with me. And I'd love to have the opportunity to talk with you and see if coaching is a good fit. So hope you all enjoyed our session today. I'm gonna look for one last string of questions. If you guys have any questions, if not, we're gonna hop off. Roz Perez says, yes, very informative. Thank you. I feel more confident to do virtual. Love that. Reach out to me if you'd like to take next steps or would like to know what that looks like. And guys, thank you. I will talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day.